Hey, Jordan Belfort, the Wolf of Wall Street. Time for Whiteboard Wednesday. And by the way, this is going to be that one video which literally changes your life, your entire perspective when it comes to selling. I promise you. I thought about this last night, and I have a way, I think, in literally like 4 or 5 minutes here to show you how you can implement the straight line system, at least this much of it, without really even knowing it. And by doing that, you'll immediately see more results. You'll make more money, and then by the way, after that, you'd be crazy not to actually dive in deeper to the system. Okay, so look below. You'll see a button for a free trial for a new program. Get ready to say learn more. You get a 7-day free trial. So watch this video, and either you can learn about the free trial now or just implement the strategy and watch what fucking happens. Tell me if this doesn't increase your closing rate and make you more confident right away, okay? Here's the deal. When I look back, I was thinking this last night, because I always think the day before Whiteboard Wednesday about what am I going to say, what's the best thing I could teach someone, right, in like a 10-minute period. And I was thinking back to the night that I actually invented the straight line system. I had those 12 kids in front of me. They couldn't close. I tried every sales system out there. This is back in end of 88, 1988, believe it fucking, all right? And I couldn't get them to close. And I was already considered one of the top sales trainers out there, naturally great at training, but there was something missing. And out of sheer frustration, I stumbled upon this new way of training salespeople that came to be known as straight line sales and persuasion. And it started with this one thought that every sale is the same. Now, that's not the graph I'm going to show you in a second. I'm going to show you something that's been another 1 minute of pre-framing here, and then I'll get to what this strategy. So every sale the same was this concept I had that I said, the reason, like for me, it was so easy to close people because, like, to me, every sale, like they were all going down the same path. I would take immediate control. I knew how to essentially handle the prospect and sort of guide them down this very narrow, not like this, but a narrow path, step by step, and accomplish certain key things that needed to be accomplished to close someone. If I could accomplish all those things at once, the people would buy. I was doing that the same way every single time. And when I said that word, guys, I said, don't you get it? Every sale's the same. They're like, what? Every sale's not the same. They thought I was crazy. And then I drew that long, thin, straight line on the board for the first time. I put a big, thick X on either end. And the concept was that basically the perfect sale, like an objectionless close, a laydown, where everything you say, everything you do, the prospect is yes, 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 yes. Oh, great, Jordan, yes. Oh, that sounds terrific. Oh, how much? Oh, here's my credit card. No objections. They're almost pre-sold before you enter the encounter. That's the perfect straight line sale. But what typically happens, what almost always happens, is that the prospects don't follow this perfect line. They tend to go off the line. They have questions. They have objections. They interrupt you. They have concerns. They have worries, right? They have pain points, whatever it might be, right? So you have here the prospect trying to take you off the line, you trying to take them on the line, and keep them on the line, moving forward towards the close, right? So I explained to the guys you have these healthy boundaries above and below the line. I said when you're in these boundaries, you're in control. Outside the boundaries, you're out of control. Meaning here you're spiraling off to Pluto or your anus. Not good places to be for most of us at least, right? And in here, you're in control and doing two very important things. You're essentially gathering massive intelligence, identifying your prospects' needs, their values, their worries, their pain points, all the things you need to know, and of course their financial qualification, right? To make sure they can afford your product and need your product and have pain points, right? And you're doing that in a way that gets you into massive rapport. That was the basis of the straight line, and I use this word, this term called goal-oriented communication, meaning that the straight line system was communication that had a specific goal in mind, an endpoint, and that endpoint was to close the frickin' deal. So it gave people a context that a sale has a beginning and an end and an end point. And that's your goal, to close the deal. Now, here's this little hack I want to teach you right now that can allow you to use just this much of the straight line, and you'll see how easily you can use this to increase your close rate 30, 40%, like that. Now, what I'm going to attack here is one aspect of the sale that tends to trip people up, both newbies and experienced salespeople who have not done straight line training. And again, I implore you, look below, check out the free trial, because when you use this, you will see results like that. This stuff works, and you get to experience it for free. Okay, so here's the hack. When you get to the point when you are asking questions, so you say, so tell me, how long you've been in, let's use stocks or insurance. How long you've been in the stock market for? How long have you been investing for? Or how long you're looking for a car for, right? How long you've been in the market for a car? Whatever you're selling, doesn't matter, right? And the prospect starts to talk. So you ask a question. So watch, this is the perfect sale. The perfect sale is just, yes, you're presenting and you're processing, yes, yes. There's no questions and answers. That's on the line. You're on the line. You're presenting. You're not asking questions. You're presenting facts, benefits, and so forth. And your prospect is agreeing with you and saying, oh, yeah, that sounds good, all the way to the close. That's being on the line. When you're off the line, inside these boundaries, you, are asking questions and your prospect is answering. Your prospect is actually doing much more of the talking when you are inside these boundaries here. You're asking powerful questions in a certain order, they answer. What happens, though, is that when you ask a question, very often the prospect starts to answer the question the right way. They'll give you the real answer. How long you've been living in this area? Let's say you're looking at a real estate broker. So how long have you been in the market for a house? I say, I'm looking for maybe 2 or 3 years now, and I used to be living in another area, and all of a sudden they start talking about something that is completely unrelated, and within 20 seconds they're off on about a fishing trip they took in Mexico and a sailfish and all this shit, right? That's what happens all the time in selling. Mark my words, just watch it happen. You ask a question, they start off giving you a good answer, and then somehow they start to spiral off out of control, and they go off to Pluto. Now that's okay, that happens. The mistake that salespeople who haven't been trained correctly, the mistake they make is that rather than stopping them and bringing them back to the point in the sale where they started, you have to stop them. Rather than doing that, they jump right into the nightmare. Oh, the water's warm. They jump in. They'll say, oh, my God, you like fishing? I love fishing. I went sailing. And next thing you know, they're spending 10 to 15 minutes talking about fishing or boating or God knows, bowling. Who knows what the hell it is, but they're talking about things that are not germane to the sale. This is the one mistake, because when you do that, it immediately tips your hand that you're not an expert in your field. Experts don't do that. They don't waste time. They don't ramble. They have directed conversations that are pertinent to the task at hand or to the goal in mind, which is to close a deal. Now, obviously, what you can't do is you can't ask someone a question and listen to the answer, and as they start giving you a good answer, then they start spiraling off, and oh yeah, I went on this fishing trip once. You're like, whoa, stop. Well, listen, buddy, I'm a straight line expert. Don't ramble on my watch, buddy. No going off the Pluto here. Time is money. I'm busy. And you say, stop, answer my question. If you do that, you're done. You've broken rapport. You can't close anybody. You can't do that. So the mistake that people make is, number one, they tend to jump in and go off to Pluto. They take the person on a ride there and do a few orbits around Pluto. Or if they try to say, whoa, I can't do that. No, I don't talk. I'm not rambling. I'm an expert. I'm too busy. And they don't actually, they'll try to bring the person back to the conversation. They break rapport and the sales go over. The hack I want to show you, this little, and I hate the word hack, but it's just like a little thing that you can use. There's a little system here, right? A little within the system is that when someone starts to ramble, here's what I want you to do. I want you to use this technique called active listening. So they start to ramble, you're like, wow, oh, cool, just hum them, oh, wow, that's, really, wow, oh my God, and then let them talk, let them spin out, use your tonality and body language, no words, to say, oh, wow, then it makes sense, and then when they're done, let them spin out and say, oh my God, that's so cool, that's really awesome. And by the way, in terms of, and then you go right back and ask them the next question. Now, if they haven't answered the actual question you asked, you're going to ask them, you're going to say, oh, wow, that's so cool. Now, in terms of how long you've been living here, what was it, 4? So you don't cut them off You actually use your tonality and body language so they're like, oh wow, this person gets me. Let them know that you care about what they think, that you're interested, but don't jump in and start talking about nonsense. Experts don't do that. And by doing this strategy, you say, oh, well, and then you say, oh, and by the way, and as far as, and then you bring them back to the straight line and you start moving forward towards the close. You ask your next question in sequence. That's the hack. And if you just do that one thing, now again, the straight line is the greatest sales system in the world by far, by a country mile. It is, okay? And anyone who knows anything at study will tell you so because it just works, okay? It takes anyone turns into a top producer. This won't do that. This won't make you a top producer, but it will, I promise, increase your closing rate. If you want to take this to the next level, click on the link below. Believe me, you won't be sorry. It's a free trial. Check it out. All right? I love you all. This works. Use it. And then learn the rest after.